Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. So pleased that you could join us today. I'm Tara Kirksell from the Johns Hopkins University at the Center for Health Security at the university. And I'm really pleased today to welcome you to our event, the Meet the Editors event, to sort of begin our joint call for infodemiology papers, which is supported by the WHO. We are really pleased to announce this coordinated effort to bring together research in the field of infodemiology together in this moment where it's so important for us to begin to make progress on this topic. And so we have actually many journals here to talk about what we will be trying to do with this joint call for papers. But before we go into the journal profiles, I just want to go over the agenda here. So this is the welcome right now. Then we'll have a few words from Tina with the WHO, and then we'll have a few the journal profiles, which will be about 5 minutes each. Some time for Q&A. If we can't get to all the questions, we will still have our contact information, so you can continue to talk with the editors offline if you have additional questions. And then we'll have some closing remarks from Liz. Please remember that this event is being recorded, and it's also important to know that on recorded Zoom calls, your private messages become recorded as well. So just remember that as we go through this. So at this moment, I will turn it over to Tina for a few opening remarks.
Thanks, Tara. And thank you to everyone that has worked tirelessly the last month while I've been away out of office to bring this together and move this great initiative forward. As you can see here also on the projection, we've had really a great support and great interest from collaboration from 5 different journals that you to really launch a call for papers on infodemiology, and this is one of the direct outputs from the Infodemiology conference that took place earlier this summer, and also our partners. That this is an important area of work where we need to find a way to continue not just working together, but bringing further knowledge and evidence into our work in public health. So we're really happy that this. Thank you for everyone else that will be presenting today for working hard on this. It will be wonderful to see the response and the different research that will be brought together to that. Will be the first anniversary of the COVID-19 infodemic announcement by the WHO Director General. But regardless of that initiative, I'm really pleased that so many of you actually today joined us. Research and bringing research closer to policy. See, Bruce Gellin from Sabin Institute is also here today. Who for small grants that they're running also in infodemiology. So I'm really pleased that so much interest is in infodemiology and research. I bring to you also the greetings from Sylvie Briand and Tim Nguyen. And now I think it's great. Let's continue.
Great, thank you so much. So with those words, we will start to get moving here. Our first, we need to advance my slides somehow. There. The first journal that will talk about what's going on in that journal will be Big Data and Society. So please take it away.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Anatoly Grust, and I will start this brief presentation, and then I will invite my fellow guest co-editors to tell you a little bit more about the scope of this special issue that we're envisioning. So this is for Big Data and Society journal, and I'll tell you a little bit about the journal first. It was launched about 6 years ago, and I was fortunate to be part of the co-founding editors of this journal. And it was launched at times when big data was a buzzword, but we realized that most of the publications in that space really looked at only or mostly technical aspects of big data. You know, how do you analyze it? How do you handle large volumes and diverse data sets? So what this journal, Big Data and Society, is envisioning to bring to the audience is a critical view of big data, implications of big data for society, for researchers, for practitioners. So while we do kind of see a lot of quantitative type of papers being published by the journal, we also welcome other interdisciplinary contributions. And so even though the journal is relatively young, we just got our impact factor assessment this year. And we were pleased that the journal has been getting a lot of attention from other scholars in terms of citing papers that appear in this journal. So the impact factor right now is 4.5. And so if you are considering submitting to the journal, I think it's very likely that your work will be highly visible. So I did mention I have a pleasure of having a number of guest editors joining me on this call. And I would like to invite Manlio to tell you a little bit about the Infodemic at Scale, a special theme proposal as we envision it, and the types of contributions we would love to see. And before Manlio jumps in, I want to also emphasize that right now, the main deadline is to consider is September the 8th. So this is when we need to know expression of interest, essentially, to put forward to the journal to say, hey, this is the type of contribution that we expect to be submitted. So September the 8th, and the link to submit your abstract, your tentative abstracts, is on the slide, and I believe it's going to be also shared in the joint call. And now, Manlio, would you like to jump in to say a few words about the focus of the special issue?
So thank you very much, Anatoly, for introducing the special issue. I will be very, very quick. So our idea for the papers and the contributions to this special issue is to collect research about big data, broadly speaking. So we are not only thinking about big data in terms of huge databases, I don't know, in terms of terabytes of data, but also probably a smaller data, but rich and complex data consisting maybe of many, many features that are difficult to understand using standard techniques. So any computational approach, novel computational approach, or a state-of-the-art approach, but applied to complex data sets will be more than welcome. And then what I like to stress is that given the aim of the journal, which is big data and society, and also the relevance of infodemic for not only for the digital space, but also for the offline space, so for the physical space, what we are looking for is papers trying to connect both worlds, because it's becoming more and more important to start to understand how what's going on in the digital space can affect what will go on in the physical space, and the other way around. So we welcome applications and research papers on each space separately, to say, but we welcome even more those papers that try to work in the middle, trying to bridge those two spaces. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to the Health Security Journal. This is a journal in which I am an associate editor for. Since I'm hosting today, I'm going to pass this presentation off to Divya Hosengadi and Mark Tortashod, who are going to be the co-special feature editors for this instance.
Thanks, Tara, and thanks everyone again for joining today. So I'll do a brief intro to the journal Health Security. It's a bi-monthly peer-reviewed journal that has been around since the early 2000s. We have a global audience with readers from around 170 countries and have drawn authors from around the world. Over the years, the journal has become a key tool for practitioners across multiple fields, working as policymakers, scientists, and within country governments. Next slide. Going into a bit more detail on the type of content we typically publish. The journal typically publishes research and policy discussions on topics ranging from epidemics to biological, chemical, and nuclear threats. The journal periodically publishes special features, including an issue focused specifically on health communication and large-scale threats back in 2018. This year, we have published an issue with the CDC looking at global health security implementation and on other topics like risk assessment and the bioeconomy. I'll now pass it over to my colleague Divya Hosengadi, who will share some more information on the growth of the journal. Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Mark. So our journal has really grown a lot in recent years, both in terms of our readership as well as in terms of the number of submissions that we receive. We're able to rapidly review manuscripts. The average time to make a decision on an original manuscript is about 24 days, and that timeline can be reduced or become more efficient when authors suggest reviewers to supplement our efforts. As of this upcoming issue, we will have 44 peer-reviewed articles published so far in this year, and as well as 21 commentaries and editorials published, with 7 more online. And so far, we've received about 130 manuscripts this year, and this is up from 97 on this date the previous year. So a lot of growing activity. And we've had nearly 87,000 full text downloads in 2019, and this is a 43% increase compared to 2018. So we're really excited about that. So we want to thank you for learning about our journal, and please feel free to contact any of us with additional questions. Thanks.
Yeah, and I just want to chime in. Thank you, Divya and Mark. I want to chime in to say that our journal will. You have to submit your article by the end of October 31st, in order for us to make it, get it through the peer review process. We always like to provide enough time, because one of the things that has become very difficult in these days is that we will go through, maybe a dozen reviewers in the effort to get appropriate peer review for our articles, and so we need to leave some time for that. Our article word limits are not hard and fast, but we are hoping for original articles should be about 4,000 words and commentaries about 2,000 words. You can see our contact information here, and we're happy to answer additional questions either later in the presentation or offline. Next, we have the PAHO Journal.
So good morning, everyone. This is Eliane. Just a really brief introduction about ourselves. The Pan American Health Organization is a specialized international health agency for the Americas, and by means the Americas regions and the Caribbean. And it was founded in 1902. Therefore, PAHO also serves as the regional office for the Americas for the WHO. And the trajectory of our journal has begun in 1922. So there's a lot of history here. And along the years, the journal has transformed as the flagship scientific publication for the organization. and bears this name, Revista Panamericana de Salud Pública, or Pan-American Journal of Public Health, since 1997. To explain the mission, the characteristics, and the operational standard that we're going to follow for this very important global and joint special issue, I'd like to pass the floor to my colleague, Dr. Damian Vasquez, who is the managing editor, who will introduce the technical aspects of the journal. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Damian.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here and for your interest in this joint special issue. As Eliana said, this is one of the longest standing public health journals. It is completely free for authors and readers. All articles are in full text, open access, is peer reviewed, and the journal is indexed in PubMed, Medline, PubMed Central, Cielo, and other major scientific databases. Currently, our impact factor is 0.7. The next slide, please. For this special issue, we would like to receive original research papers, systematic reviews, special reports, and brief communications, either written in English, Spanish, or Portuguese. We will process every submission in the original language with the abstracts in the other two languages. And we have set a deadline as October 15. As we are an organization and a journal that is devoted to public health, we would like to receive papers that present how health organizations, governments, and health systems should face this problem of the infodemics, particularly within a public health emergency. So we will publish during the next days more details on the subtopics within the journal website. This is the URL. We invite all you to visit the journal site, and you will find more information either on the homepage or under the authors menu on the top right part of the site. So happy to be here, and thank you very much for all.
Thank you very much. All right, so our the last journal for today, Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs. Please take it away, Ruben.
Yeah, thanks so much, Tara. Well, first of all, it is a pleasure to participate in this global call for papers, with a very important initiative. And I'm here in my capacity of deputy editor for this International Journal of Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs. This is a journal that started first under a different name as Intelligence and Security, Journal of Analysis and Foresight, and was published in mainly Spanish with some articles in English. And since 4 years, since 2016, we started publishing International Journal of Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs through RAP, which is an imprint of Taylor and Francis group. Next slide. So the main goal of the journal is investigate and study intelligence for decision making in a broad sense. It is about a journal publishing articles mainly on intelligence studies, which is an interdisciplinary field of study, and how intelligence deals with different kind of threats. So of course the pandemics and all the related misinformation, disinformation that is affecting the decisions of humans can be as well an important threat. So we publish issues per year. For example, final manuscript due date for the last issue, for example, will be 25 September for this year, and this will apply similarly to the next volume. The articles published online first, well, they are wide being assigned to a volume. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So this is the website of the journal with the aims and scopes, and you will find there if you are interested in the journal and in submitting your proposal, what is the editorial board, all the information related to the instructions for authors, are receiving the submissions through a system, which is an editorial manager that you will see in the next slide. And it's which you are going to build your paper anonymous for the peer review. And the policy of the journal is conducting double-blind peer review, and this system is used for managing all the whole process. So once an article is received, it's screened by an editor, in this case by the guest editors, and they are assigned a different reviewers based on their expertise and so forth, like any other journal. So next slide, please. Well, this, as I said, is a young journal, and it's now has received, it is indexed in Scopius, has received the first ranking this year. It has a site score of 1.1, and you will see there the details. And it is a journal mainly focused on the area of political science and international relations, but also we publish articles that might be under the area of decision science, information system management. So as I said, this is a journal about intelligence for decision making, information to facilitate decision of policy makers in different arenas. Next slide, please. Here you can see an example of an article that is public open access. In principle, the researchers are given the opportunity to make their publications also open access. And this is an example of one of those. And this is the typical structure with title, abstract, all the relevant information related to the reception, review, publication. And this, just put this as an example. Next slide, please. So in the framework of this joint call for papers, since we are an intelligence and security journal, our focus of interest will be receiving research articles and maybe also research notes, focus on aspects related to how does intelligence on disinformation, misinformation, and early warning with this regard can provide, can facilitate decision in this arena on infodemics management, the intersection of intelligence and strategic communication, also disinformation activities and propaganda, both from state and non-state actors, including case studies. For example, this relates to COVID-19 disinformation narratives and propaganda, for example, or regional case studies, as well as how we can better evaluate and assess the impact of that the infodemics is having in our societies, and for example, proposing methodologies for evaluation and so forth. Another interesting kind of approach that you might be interested in publishing in this joint special issue will be the societal resilience to disinformation and misinformation, and also the aspects related to education and training on public health intelligence and infodemics management. So if you feel interested in submitting your work to this special issue, the important deadline is 12 October for full submissions, but we will appreciate if you have an idea, a particular proposal for a paper that you would like to discuss. So if you are able to do this by the month of September, that will be good before submitting your full submission. The website is there, and the submission website it's also indicated in the slide. And we also have a Twitter account in which we disseminate, once the articles are published, we give also some amplifications through Twitter, so that your research is known. Yeah, so I think that's all. Thanks so much. And here is my email address if you have additional questions or queries. Thanks.
Thanks so much, everyone. Sorry for shutting the slide share off just a minute early, but everyone's contact information will be provided on the call for papers that will be going out. And so, you know, you're encouraged to either ask questions now or contact. You can ask questions on the chat here on the side, and we will read them out. Or feel free to email us, you know, if there's a specific journal that really catches your attention and you have additional questions. So at this point, I think we're open for anyone who has any questions before we move on to final comments.
Can I go? This is Bruce.
Yes.
So this is really something. I'm really impressed by this. Is there any relationship between all these journals? You're asking for a lot of content in a short period of time, and I hope it's out there, but it's somewhat competitive, maybe. I think you have to help people figure out where they could submit, and then what might border on collusion. Is there some way that these journals can play together so that you can have some overall balance? So if something doesn't seem appropriate for one, it's better for another. It's an incredible idea. I just worry that you're going to have a lot of things going on in a very short period of time, and to the degree to which there's some ability to maximize all the efforts gone into this. Thanks.
So maybe I'll take that question. That's a really great points. So Tara and her colleagues were very kind to host today's Meet the Editors get together. But this has been a long running discussion for the last few weeks since the Infodemiology conference. And all the journals that have been invited to participate, we had representation at the conference. So I would say that these are journals that are early adopters, if you will. And what I also like about the current set of journals is that they're all interdisciplinary, which I think really underscores the importance and growth in this area beyond, you know, your usual suspects for journals with very, you know, areas of focus that are very narrow. And so there is a joint call for infodemiology papers that's going through final proofing this week, and it's going to be circulated along with the video for this conference, as well as the slides that were just presented, that really highlight, you know, the different comparative advantages and areas of focus of each of these journals. I think one of the strengths of the collection of journals that we have is that they're all slightly different, and so I don't think there's going to be a lot of direct competition, but certainly enough there for people to submit to journals that really speak to their area of focus. But I know this has definitely been a collaborative effort with the journal editors involved. Tina, is there anything else that you wanted to chime in on this process? Okay, maybe not. Oh, go ahead. Tina.
Not on the process, but I think maybe you can mention later also in the closing regarding the connection to the so I do think that this work is and the papers be also quite closely linked to come out of the conference. So there's definitely an interconnection, and in the background we're also working on still trying to set a platform for the community of research and practice. Hopefully the broader research community will take that opportunity even further to discuss there and also make connections. You know, things are still evolving.
Thanks. Over to you, Tara.
Great. So we have some questions here on the side. I'll read these 3 questions, and then we have someone with their raised hand. So I see Anya here. Actually, do you want me to read it and just put a thumbs up if you want to read it, or if you want to speak and ask it?
Okay, so it's a question for big data and society. And I was wondering, because you talked about the need for crossing both offline and online data. And so my question is what kind of offline behavioral data you are aiming at? Is it GPS data tracing movements, or are you aiming for survey data with a lower accuracy of detecting offline behavior, or is it ethnographic observations that are not scalable, or do you have any specific ideas about that? And secondly, is it mandatory, and could you in a way front online data and then make perspective to patterns in offline data such as surveys or mobility data? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I can start, and then Manlio, please jump in. There's no requirements to have different types of data sets in your research. I think what Manlio was speaking to is that big data we can consider big data as something that doesn't have to have millions of records, but can be enriched with data from multiple data sets, like contact tracing apps, for example. But we also understand there will be a lot of contributions that will focus just on online data, like social media data, and can come from one platform. The idea, I guess, to have the call as open as possible at this stage to recognize the interdisciplinarity of this growing field. Manlio, would you like to jump into it?
Yeah. Essentially, I fully agree with you. So we are not pushing towards a specific type of data or specific data sets. So you are more than welcome to use whatever you think could help us and you, of course, to better understand the link between online and offline data. The only requirement that we have is the data set is rich. So, and then it makes sense to be considered for a publication or on a journal like Big Data and Society. So, but the bridge here is the main driver, I would say. So if you have anything based on mobility, human mobility data with GPS or whatever other type of sensor and so on, more than welcome.
And I want to confirm with Anatoly that the deadline for the final paper is the end of October, right?
So I can clarify a little bit the process for Big Data and Society, and each journal has their own kind of processes for approving special issues. So for us, we have a set of guest editors for this special issue where we preparing the proposal for this issue. And as part of the proposal for Big Data and Society, we need to indicate expression of interest of authors who will be submitting towards that special issue to make sure that it is coherent. Then this proposal will be reviewed by the editors of Big Data and Society, and the final decision on the special issue will be made by end of October. So after that, we will then follow up with our authors who express interest in submitting to this special issue and invite them to submit, ideally by the end of November, but certainly depending on other issues, the second wave of COVID. We discussed with yesterday about this. We will be flexible while realizing that we want to get this work out there as soon as possible. We also consider it of other circumstances that authors and reviewers might experience. But certainly the idea is to have full papers ready by the end of November. The issue here, if we hit in December submission deadlines, then reviewers will not likely to review it until January. But the good thing is that with Big Data in Society journal, we can actually move forward individual papers as soon as they are ready. As soon as reviews are done, as soon as they are approved for publication, we don't need to wait for the whole special issue to be published. And there is no publication fee for the special issue publications.
Thank you. Ignatius has had his hand raised. Would you like to ask your question?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Is my voice can be heard?
It's a little bit faint, but yes.
Okay, I have a question to Dr. Ruben Arcos. I want to ask about Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs Journal. I just want to make it clear. Dr. Ruben said that the focus of the journal is about decision making and then also management information system. I have a question. Is it suitable with the topic about information system behavioral as a part of decision making? Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much for your question. Well, the journal is about intelligence studies, what is called intelligence studies, and Routledge has a really big portfolio of intelligence journals. So our journal main focus is intelligence in a broad sense to inform and facilitate the decisions of policymakers and decision makers in international organizations and any kind of organization, because this is about analyzing information, producing assessments, and then with that facilitating the decision making. And it's about the study of intelligence from different perspectives. For example, from the perspective of communication, if we are facing a threat that is related with the spread of disinformation by actors, different actors. So how does present a threat? How does intelligence can be used to prevent that and to inform the decision of authorities? It's about that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. Thanks for the answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have a general question that if there's a policy for the author affiliation, I think this is getting at, that, you know, if someone is represented in an organization rather than a university or lecturer or researcher, I know that health security does not have an issue with that. Do the other journals have something different?
Can you clarify this question? Actually,
go ahead, Anatoly.
The question is, Santi, perhaps you should clarify it. The questions for all the editors of the journal. Do you have certain policy for the authors? Because we represent an organization, not a university, lecturer, or researcher. So I think this is asking about if you can publish in the journals without an affiliation with a university. But Santi, please clarify if I don't have that right.
Thank you very much, Tara. It is precisely what I'm asking about, because I represent a community organization. Of course, we have research department to do all the works, but we are not represent university or any grades. Usually when we dealing with the journal, it used to be from the university or from the committee of research. So that's what I'm asking about. Is it possible for me and my colleagues to represent my organization to publish our research in the journal? Thank you so much.
Yes, that's not a problem with our journal. Anatoly, do you have, why don't you go next?
I don't see any concerns. All submissions are peer-reviewed. We certainly, see some strong submissions where you have partnerships between organizations and academics. But if you have a strong base in your organization to submit your research, yeah, why not? Your affiliation is your current organization, so I don't see any problem.
Oh, great! Thank you so much.
Damien, and then Ruben.
At the Pan American Journal of Public Health, we don't have any restriction regarding affiliation. You can submit either on your personal capacity or on behalf of your organization, and that will be made clear through the affiliation line, and either you can add more information in a separate paragraph if there were any other contributors to the paper. So from our part, there's no problem about that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and from the side of the International Journal of Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs, we don't have either any kind of restriction related to the affiliation. The only thing is that you have to declare what is your affiliation, and once you submit the article, you will have a questionnaire related with that information. And if you have any kind of conflict of interest, there is also a field in the submission system in which you can express, for example, if you have the article has received any kind of funding. So it's all about transparency, and that's all. So thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Red carpet from everybody. Thank you so much. It helps.
Thank you. So we have another question here, just asking about a specific content question about a paper about critical digital literacy here from Novi. I think that what you should do here is you should write up your abstract summary and pick which journal you think you have the most chance at. I think all the journal editors are prepared to do a rapid turnaround on evaluating your abstract, and that should be helpful. I think that's probably the best way to go there. Let's see, another question about International Journal of Intelligence, Security, and Public Affairs. Just wanted to check again, what was the deadline and expected length of the paper? Do you require an abstract first?
Yes, well, we will need to have the full submissions by the 12th October. But it will be very useful for us to have first contact with potential contributors so that they can send us a particular idea, an abstract, and then we can evaluate and give maybe some initial feedback about the proposal, and then probably the researcher will be more more comfortable with submitting the proposal to see that we have an interest in that kind of particular topic or article. So deadline for full submission 12th October. But if by the end of September they are also able to send us an abstract or something, that will be very useful.
All right, thank you very much. So that's the end of our questions. So I'm gonna leave a awkward pause right here for anyone else who wants to have a question. And then I will hand it off to Liz. Okay, that was awkward enough. Liz, do you want to take it away with the closing remarks?
Sure. So again, thank you so much, Tara, and to the Hopkins team for hosting this Meet the Editors event. It's so great to see so many familiar names and faces, and a few new names and faces. I'm just curious if you can use your little reaction buttons here. I'm just curious. Put a thumbs up if you plan on submitting to any of these publications. So go ahead and use a thumbs up if you plan on submitting something to this. Okay, we got Saad from Morocco is definitely submitting something. We got a few other thumbs up here. This is great. And now I'm curious, and we got Santi as well from Indonesia. This is fantastic. And we also have a few other colleagues as well, Naim as well. So this is Neve as well. So this is wonderful to see. A lot of folks from across the world are interested in submitting to these journals. All right, now I'm curious. My next question to you is, feel free to use the applause clap reaction button if you're interested in collaborating with someone that you might have met at the conference or another colleague from another field on this call for infodemiology papers. All right, Kirsten is from the UK, wonderful. We have Brian as well from Geneva, and oh, this is wonderful. So a lot of people are in Neve as well. So we got a lot of people interested. Nagla from Egypt. We have a lot of interest here. Adam Dunn, I believe, from Australia. So we have a broad range of people interested in collaborating. And Dr. Thacker from India, it's good to see that you're also interested in collaborating. So this is really great to see. If there's anything that the WHO Infodemiology Conference team can do to help support you and connecting with other potential collaborators, on joint submissions to any of these papers, feel free to reach out to us. You have our contact information. We're here for you to support you in this. A big thank you to the editors of all 4 of the journals that were here today. I think you'll have your work cut out for you. I think you'll be overwhelmed with the number of really high quality articles and commentaries coming your way. And so let me just turn over the floor very quickly to Tina if you had any other last minute comments from the WHO side.
This is really great to see. Thanks actually, Liz, for walking us through this. It's actually nice to see the reactions. I'm actually just itching my fingers to send the call for papers out and just get everyone cracking. If anyone needs to connect to anyone before you reach out to the editors, feel free to contact Liz or I to help you find the connections. But this is really great. Thank you.
And one last thing, I'm dropping my email address into the group chat. If you were invited here by a colleague, if you didn't originally attend the conference, but you're here because a colleague passed on the information about this call for papers, and you're interested in hearing more about infodemiology related things from the WHO, feel free to send me an email and I'll be sure to connect you to Tina's team, and we'll make sure that you'll get updates in the future. As I had mentioned, we will send out a recording of this hour-long Meet the Editor event, as well as all of the PowerPoints, as well as the finalized joint call for infodemiology papers. So you'll receive those shortly in the next few days. But meanwhile, go ahead and start brainstorming and reaching out to other colleagues, either within your own countries or from other regions of the world or other disciplines, to start thinking about how can you develop some of the most interesting, innovative, exciting content related to infodemiology the world has ever seen that you'll be submitting to one of these 5 journals. And thank you so much. It's been a real privilege, and we look forward to interacting with you again in the future. And please reach out to us if you have any other questions and comments. Again, a big thank you to Tara, to Ruben, to colleagues from the PAHO region, Elian, to Divya, to Mark, to Damien, to Anatoly, and am I forgetting anyone else? And thanks again for coming and speaking to everybody today about your journals and what kind of submissions you're looking for. We wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening ahead, and we look forward to hearing and speaking with you again very soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.